Hey there, comic book fans. Got a special edition comic book haul for you today. I bought some back issues, which doesn't happen that often, but I got them from Lone Star Comics slash mycomicshop.com. Just because they got one, I'll show you to in a minute, but they got the first issue of a comic that I've kind of been waiting for. But I got 10 comics. Ended up costing me about $4 a comic because I think that the actual price of the comics was around $25, but then with shipping and tax, it was about $40. So I was like, you know what? If I had $40 cash right now, I'd hand it to him for these comics. So the first ones I got were Ghost Tree number 1 and 2. Series, when did this come out? 3 years ago now? In 2019, it says on the cover. But I really liked this series. I read the first 2 issues digitally, and then got issues 3 and 4 on my pull list, but my shop could never get in, could never read. These weren't available for reorder at the time. Who put these out? IDW. So it was like I couldn't get them for reorder. It's who does this? Kurnow, Gain, and Herring, it says. This was the story of I think he was Japanese American going back to Japan, or maybe he was Japanese going from the big city to the countryside. I can't remember. And to take care of his grandmother or grandfather, I can't remember which now. And there was the ghost tree, meaning that there was a haunted tree in the backyard. It's quite a nice, pleasant, just little bit of drama and scariness with the scary ghost in it. I think she was a nice ghost. So I kind of always meant to. These were just like $2 a piece / $4 a piece. So I decided to finally get them, but what I mainly got this for was a series that I've been meaning to fill out the holes in this series since the 80s when it came out. And it's not a very obscure series, but I don't think I've ever seen it on YouTube, maybe once. And it's Journey, The Adventures of Wolverine McAllister. And this one was they finally got an issue number 1. This is the first issue of it. And they finally got an issue number 1 of it. I think from the looks of it, like number 2 was the first issue, but it must have been on my pull list from number 6 on. So I have 2 and 6 in my shelf there. And I've always meant to reread this since the 80s. I'm always like, I'll reread it once I fill in the issues I'm missing. Which, 30 years later, I fill in the issues I'm missing. But this would... I probably put these on my mycomicshop.com want list, 6 months ago, 8 months ago. And this is the first time they've had an issue number 1 in. So that's what made me decide to finally get these. Because I was like, all right, who knows if they're going to get another issue number 1 in for another 6 or 8 months. So I may as well actually pay for them now. And this was like the most expensive one. This was like a $6 or $7 book. Ooh. Most of the back issues I got were like $2. I got if I had a choice between a $2 or a $3 one, I went for the $2 one. I mean, who cares about condition in Journey, The Adventure of Wolverine McAllister? But I think Comic Crack should be all over this one. I believe this is a Canadian book. It takes place in the Canadian wilderness. I don't even remember what year. Let's see if it tells us what year in the... Get rid of this tape. No tape anywhere near my comics. I use removable labels to keep flaps down, not tape. Let's see if it gives us a little introduction. But this is by William Mesner Loebs, March 1983. His name is Wolverine McAllister. Okay. That was 40 years ago, 1810 to 13. So I guess it takes place 40 years after 1810 to 13. But there's a lot of wilderness drawing. Containing true histories, pioneer surrealism, and a bear hunt. Like, this is one I bought There's a good. Now that I'm looking back on it, there's a lot of Will Eisner in it. And historical story, frontier surrealism. I think that was. I haven't read this since the '80s, so I'm looking forward to it. I mean, look at that. That's Eisner influence right there. And also this is an example of how tough it was in the early 80s. Even though this was on my pull list, I missed a few issues. Because sometimes they just wouldn't send them the comics. You know? My comic shop back then always did their best to try and get me my stuff, but sometimes it's like they just couldn't order them. So we've got 8 issues of this altogether. This is issue number 1, first collector's item issue. What else do we have here? Issue number 3. I think William Messner Loebs went on to do something for someone. I can't remember what, but then he disappeared, kind of. 1983, issue number 4. I think this was Aardvark Vanheim. So this was Dave Sims' company, but I think his wife, Denny, was still with him then and publishing this stuff. I think after they split up, she became her own publisher. There's number 5. Nice watercolor cover. Let's take a glance at the insides of number 5, just the heck of it. Gotta get this tape the heck out of here. No tape. Anybody who keeps tape near their book and gets a tape pull, it's their own fault. I was watching whose channel, I can't remember whose channel it was. Was it Erod's channel? May have been. He was telling a story about a dealer that got... Oh, that's right. He ended up getting some comic book that would have been in mint condition, except the dealer who had it, somebody looked through it and took the tape off and accidentally got the tape stuck on it, so there was some kind of tape pull on it. And I'm like, any dealer that keeps tape anywhere near their comics gets what they deserve. That's my... Do not keep tape anywhere near your comics. If you will get a tape pull. Sooner or later. A friend of mine once said he had the most beautiful... I forget it. It was like... X-Men 57, was it? One of the Neil Adams X-Men. And he's like, oh my goodness, I accidentally just got a tape pull on it. I'm like, what are you doing? If you keep tape near... I use... Hold on, let me show you this. I've shown them before. Avery multiple use labels. See that little word there? Removable? It means they're low tack. They'll keep the flap down on your comic. They'll fall off in 10 years. And if they actually land on your comic, they come right off. Don't use tape. Let's see, do we have a year here? Chapter 6. Fitzhugh lives in the woods. A note from the publisher. Yeah, she was Denny Sim then. Containing counter-revolution and wind. Lots of wind. I remember enjoying this one thoroughly. It wasn't... I'm not going to tell you it's great or a lost classic or anything like that, but it was a good comic. And, you know, now I finally have the opportunity to read the whole thing. So you see, I must have had 2, then 6 and 7, and I somehow... Oh, no, this is 5. Pardon me. I thought this was... Oh, then 5. So I got 2. And then I had 6, right? I missed 5, 3, 4. And then I must have missed, once again, issue 11 must have never come in. These have some nice covers. I'd not realized how nice the watercolor is on these covers. Like I said, I haven't looked at them. Because in the back of my mind, I was always like, oh, I'll reread them when I finally fill in the issues. 11, and the next one is 21, so I obviously got 12 through 20, no problem at my comic shop. Oh, Fantagraphics now. Look at that. So it must have switched over somewhere around then, but there's issue 21. Then we got issue 22. I don't know. I thought it went to the mid because I got 21, 22, and 23. Did I? Maybe I missed them when it started going over to Fantagraphics or something. This is from 85. And then there's 23. Yeah, 85 I was away in college. So if they messed something up on my pull list, oops, bumped into my mic. So if they messed something up on my pull list, I may not have caught it in time. You know, I may not have even noticed I was missing Journey until I was like, I've just assumed an issue didn't come out. December 1985. Yeah, I would have been in college. Nice pages. Not as yellow. Feels like it's got better paper here at Fantagraphics. There's some Love and Rockets ads on the back for you. The Northwest Packet. I guess that's, like I said, I think this was a TM Maple letter in there too. The Mad Maple. I think died some years ago. Yeah, very. That is looking very Will Eisner, this layout. But like I said, I'm looking forward to reading them. Couple issues of Ghost Tree. 8 issues of Journey, The Adventures of Wolverine McAllister. Look, there's the subtitle on that one. That I look forward to. Like I said, I don't know that I've ever seen Journey on YouTube, which is like which is weird because I don't. At least to me, maybe it's just not obscure because it used to be on my pull list. To me, it's not obscure, but to everybody else, it is. But anyway, there you go. 10 new comics. I actually got some back issues. Woohoo! You guys have a good week out there.